Ever scrolled through Instagram and thought, hey, I could sell that?
Mm-hmm.
Dropshipping. It promises that online store experience, but, like, without turning your spare room into a warehouse.
Right.
No wonder it's, like, totally booming.
Yeah, it's huge.
You sent over this What is Dropshipping? The Ultimate Guide, updated for 2024 from Oberlo.
Okay.
And it seems like the perfect place to, well, dive in.
It really captures the allure for
Yeah.
sure. And the data backs it up too.
Okay.
The guide says this market is projected to hit almost $476.1 billion by 2026.
Oh,
That's not just growth, that's a whole shift in how we buy and sell online.
almost $500 billion.
Yeah.
That's, like, mind-blowing. Okay, for anyone just tuning in,
Yeah.
let's define dropshipping.
Sure.
What's the heart of this business model?
Okay, so imagine this.
Yeah.
Someone buys a cool phone case, right?
Yeah.
From your online store.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of you boxing it up and like shipping it out,
Yeah.
your supplier gets that order and ships it directly to the customer.
Oh, okay.
So you're the storefront, you're the marketer, you're the customer service whiz,
Right.
but you're free from that physical inventory.
So you're like the conductor of the orchestra,
Yeah.
making sure everything sounds good, even though you're not the one playing each instrument.
Exactly. And that hands-off approach, it's incredibly appealing.
Yeah.
Lower overhead, location independence. You can run this type of business from, like, I don't know, a beach in Bali if you want.
Okay, that does sound pretty dreamy.
Right.
But let's get real. We all know every business has its, like, challenges. What does the guide say about the not-so-glamorous side of dropshipping?
Right. It's not a magic money tree.
Right.
And while starting might be relatively straightforward, the guide emphasizes that succeeding takes work, strategy, and resilience.
Yeah.
It even explicitly states that it's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
So what I'm hearing is it's accessible to start,
Yes.
but building a profitable dropshipping business
Yeah.
requires the same dedication as any other, entrepreneurial endeavor.
Totally.
No shortcuts, just smart work.
Right on the money.
Okay.
And speaking of the work involved,
Yeah.
I'm curious, how do you envision actually running a dropshipping business day to day?
It seems like there are a lot of moving parts.
There are.
This guide mentions two main ways to approach finding suppliers.
Okay.
Do it yourself or using an app.
It's about how hands-on you want to be in that stage of the process.
Okay.
Platforms like AliExpress, those are like vast digital flea markets,
Yeah.
You can connect with individual suppliers.
Okay.
But if you crave more, like structure, apps
Yeah.
like de-essers on Shopify, those act as matchmakers, connecting you to a pre-vetted network.
Oh, okay. So with option one, you're really in the driver's seat building those relationships.
You are.
But with option two, it's more about plugging into a system that's already, like, set up, each with its own advantages.
Precisely. And regardless of which route you choose, the fundamental process remains the same.
Okay.
Customer orders from your shop, you relay that order to the supplier,
Okay.
and they handle getting it to the customer's doorstep.
This might sound like a silly question, but yeah, what's stopping a customer from just going directly to the supplier if they find them?
That's a great question, and it's something a lot of people ask.
Yeah.
It's all about your added value.
Okay.
You're not just a middleman.
Right.
You're curating products, building a brand,
Yeah.
offering excellent customer service.
Right.
It's your unique touch that makes the customer choose to buy from you instead of going on like a digital scavenger hunt themselves.
Okay, that clarifies things.
Yeah.
You're essentially creating a brand experience
Totally.
that goes beyond simply listing a product.
Yes.
So let's talk perks.
Okay.
What are the big benefits that draw people to dropshipping?
The guide highlights that one of the biggest draws is that significantly lower startup cost.
Okay.
Think about it.
Yeah.
No renting a warehouse.
Right.
No mountains of unsold inventory gathering dust.
Yeah.
That alone makes entrepreneurship attainable for many people
Yeah.
who wouldn't have the capital for a traditional retail business.
You're removing significant barriers to entry.
Absolutely.
That's incredibly powerful. I bet the flexibility to test product ideas without huge financial risks is a huge plus too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like dipping your toes in the water before diving headfirst, right? You can list a product, see how it resonates with customers,
Yeah.
and adjust your offerings based on like real-time demand.
Wow.
No more guessing games.
That data-driven approach must be a game changer for entrepreneurs.
Huge.
And let's not forget the allure of being location independent.
Right.
Working from anywhere with Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Exactly. It's a major draw for, digital nomads and anyone who craves flexibility in their work life.
Right.
But of course, no business model is without its drawbacks.
Okay, so we've got freedom, flexibility, low overhead.
Mm-hmm.
But where do things get, like, tricky? The guide can't just be singing dropshipping's praises, right?
You're right. It's crucial to understand the challenges.
Yeah.
One of the biggest, as the guide points out, is the potential for razor-thin profit margins.
Okay.
Because starting is relatively easy, the competition is fierce.
Right.
It's a race to offer the lowest price, which can really eat into your earnings.
So it's not enough to just find a product.
Right.
It's about understanding how to price it competitively while still making a profit.
Exactly, and this is where niche selection becomes critical. The guide actually talks about tapping into long-tail keywords,
Right.
which essentially means finding those specific, underserved customer needs that, bigger players might be missing.
So instead of selling yoga mats,
Right.
maybe you focus on eco-friendly yoga mats made with organic cotton
Exactly.
and target that specific audience.
Yes.
It's about strategically positioning yourself.
You nailed it.
Okay.
And something else that stood out to me in the guide is the emphasis on speed.
Okay.
Fast, reliable shipping. It's no longer a luxury.
Right.
It's an expectation.
Totally.
Customers are used to that Amazon Prime speed.
Yeah.
So if you're drop shipping from across the globe, those longer delivery times
Right.
can be a deal breaker.
That makes total sense. And it probably ties back into choosing the right suppliers, too.
Yes.
Those who prioritize fast fulfillment
Yes.
and can handle the volume.
The guide also talks about the importance of targeted advertising,
Okay.
especially in such a crowded online space.
Yeah.
Think about it. Instead of casting a wide net,
Mm-hmm.
you can use tools like Google Ads to put your product in front of people who are already searching for something similar.
You're not just hoping they stumble upon your shop.
Right?
You're meeting them where they are.
Yes.
That's smart.
It's about being strategic with your marketing budget,
Yeah.
which is, essential,
Mm.
especially when those profit margins might be smaller.
It all comes back to being strategic.
Mm-hmm.
What other nuggets of wisdom does the guide offer for, standing out in the dropshipping world?
High-quality product photos and descriptions.
Okay.
Those are your secret weapons.
Okay.
The guide really emphasizes the need to help customers visualize that product in their lives.
Right.
Almost like they're, picking it up in a store.
So instead of a generic product description, you might paint a picture.
Exactly.
Imagine yourself sipping coffee on a crisp fall morning, wrapped in this cozy, hand-knitted scarf.
Exactly. You're selling a feeling, an experience.
Right.
And don't underestimate the power of exceptional customer service.
Right.
A prompt, helpful response to a question,
Yeah.
going above and beyond to resolve, like a shipping issue.
Mm-hmm.
That can turn a one-time buyer into a loyal customer who tells their friends about their positive experience.
It's about building that human connection, even in a digital space.
Totally.
Now, let's say someone listening is hooked.
Okay.
They want to try dropshipping. Where do they even begin?
The guide lays out a clear 7-step roadmap to launching a dropshipping business.
Okay.
It starts with finding your niche,
Okay.
that sweet spot where your passions and market demand intersect.
So it's not about chasing the latest fad,
Right.
but about finding something that genuinely excites you
Yes.
and has the potential for long-term success.
Right. And then it's about validating that idea through market research.
Okay.
Who are your ideal customers? What are they willing to pay? Who are your competitors?
So many questions, but essential ones to answer before you invest too much time or money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And once you have a solid understanding of your market,
Hmm.
it's time to find those reliable suppliers who align with your values and shipping expectations. The guide stresses this is a partnership, not just a transactional relationship.
So communication and transparency are key from the get-go.
Exactly. Then comes the fun part,
Okay.
building your online store.
Right.
This is where you bring your brand to life through design, product photography, and compelling product descriptions.
It's like you're creating a digital storefront that's both visually appealing
Yes.
and easy for customers to navigate.
Exactly.
Okay.
And while it's tempting to jump right in,
Yeah.
the guide recommends taking the time to formally register your business.
Okay.
Not only does this often make it easier to work with suppliers,
Right.
but forming an LLC, as the guide explains, can provide legal protection and limit your personal liability,
Okay.
which is especially important when you're dealing with customer payments and product liability.
It's about protecting yourself and your business in those early stages.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Once you have your legal and financial ducks in a row,
Yeah.
it's time to launch and market your store.
Exciting.
Right. This is where you put your marketing plan into action,
Hmm?
drive traffic to your website,
Yeah.
and convert those visitors into paying customers.
So much of it, like you said earlier, is
Yeah.
about driving targeted traffic.
Yes.
Finding those people who are already searching for what you're selling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And thankfully, the guide dives much deeper into each of these steps,
Okay.
offering practical tips and resources for each stage of the process.
It's great that there's so much support available for aspiring dropshippers.
Yeah, there really is.
And speaking of support,
Yeah,
I bet the guide answers some common questions people might have.
I'm sure it does.
Like, is dropshipping even legal?
That's a common concern,
Mm-hmm.
and the guide addresses it directly.
Okay.
It explains that, yes,
Yeah.
dropshipping is completely legal.
Okay.
It's simply a fulfillment model,
Right.
much like how many brick-and-mortar stores don't manufacture the products they sell,
Right.
but source them from various suppliers.
It's just taking that same concept online.
Exactly. The guide also tackles the million-dollar question. Is dropshipping actually profitable?
Right.
And while it acknowledges those slimmer profit margins we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
it emphasizes that profitability ultimately boils down to smart decision-making,
Right.
from choosing the right niche to managing costs effectively and constantly analyzing and adapting your strategies.
So it all comes back to being strategic
Yes.
and treating your dropshipping venture like a legitimate business,
Exactly.
not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Right. And it's about being realistic.
Okay.
The guide briefly touches on other e-commerce models,
Yeah.
like using a third-party fulfillment service where you purchase products wholesale and have a company manage the storage and shipping.
Okay, so that sounds more like hands-on.
It can be, but it can also offer more control over inventory
Right.
and potentially faster shipping times.
Okay.
But it often comes with higher upfront costs.
So it's about understanding the trade-offs
Yes,
and choosing the model that best aligns with your goals and resources.
exactly.
What other alternatives does the guide mention?
It also talks about creating your own branded products.
Oh, interesting.
You could add unique touches to existing dropshipped products,
Okay.
or go all in and manufacture your own. And of course, there's affiliate marketing,
Right.
where you're essentially a cheerleader for other companies' products.
Yeah.
Earning a commission on sales, you drive through your unique affiliate links.
So many different ways to approach the world of online selling. It seems like dropshipping, while attractive for its accessibility, is just one piece of a much larger puzzle.
Exactly. It's all about finding the right fit.
Right.
But even if someone decides dropshipping isn't for them, there are still valuable lessons to be learned from this guide.
Right. So much to consider.
Mm-hmm.
It really does seem like it.
Yeah, okay.
And speaking of finding the right fit,
Yeah.
the guide does address a few specific drop shipping scenarios.
Okay.
For example, it highlights Shopify as a particularly beginner-friendly e-commerce platform
Right.
for drop shippers.
Yeah.
Thanks to its intuitive interface.
It's very user-friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those smooth integrations with major platforms like Amazon and AliExpress.
So it's about simplifying that back-end process as much as possible.
Exactly.
What other details does the guide delve into?
It addresses the importance of understanding legal requirements,
Okay.
like whether you need to formally register your business
Yeah.
to work with certain suppliers.
Right.
It also answers practical questions about international shipping,
Okay.
confirming that many dropshipping companies do offer it,
Yeah.
but stressing the need to be upfront about potential costs and delivery timelines.
Transparency seems to be key in every aspect of dropshipping.
Absolutely.
And speaking of which,
Yeah.
the guide briefly touches on the concept of retail arbitrage, which sounds kind of similar.
Yeah, it does.
Sure.
It's an important difference.
Okay.
With dropshipping, the product goes directly from the supplier to the customer, right?
Right.
You never touch it.
Yeah.
But retail arbitrage involves buying products from other retailers,
Okay.
often at a discounted rate,
Mm.
and then reselling them at a markup through your online shop.
So you are responsible for storing, packing, and shipping the product yourself.
Exactly.
More hands-on, for sure.
Exactly. It's a different model
Right.
with its own set of challenges and opportunities.
Yeah.
But circling back to the guide's message,
Okay.
even if dropshipping itself isn't the perfect fit for every aspiring entrepreneur, I think there's still immense value in understanding the core principles it highlights.
What do you mean? What can someone take away from this, even if they don't end up building a dropshipping business?
Think of it as like a crash course in the evolving landscape of online commerce. You know,
Great.
it's about understanding the customer's desire for convenience
Right.
and speed,
Mm-hmm.
recognizing the power of building like a unique brand experience online,
Yeah.
and grasping how to effectively market and sell in a digital marketplace.
Right.
These are invaluable skills no matter what path you choose.
It's about developing that entrepreneurial mindset and
Yes.
recognizing opportunities in like a changing world.
Precisely. And the guide really drives home the point that dropshipping, like any business venture, requires adaptability.
Okay.
It's not a static model, right? The
Right.
landscape is constantly shifting, with new technologies, platforms, and customer expectations emerging all the time.
So success isn't about finding like a magic formula
Right.
and sticking to it blindly.
Yeah, you got to stay flexible.
It's about being willing to adapt, innovate, and continuously, learn and refine your approach.
Exactly. The guide reminds us that success in dropshipping isn't about chasing shortcuts,
Mm-hmm.
but about building a sustainable business based on a deep understanding of your target market, strong supplier relationships, and a commitment to delivering exceptional customer experiences.
It's about treating it like a true business venture,
Sure.
not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, on that note, I think this Oberlo guide is a fantastic resource for anyone intrigued by the world of dropshipping.
It really is.
It provides such a comprehensive overview, practical tips, and even addresses those common questions and concerns that so many aspiring entrepreneurs have.
Definitely.
It's a fantastic starting point for anyone looking to explore the world of online business.
I completely agree.
So if you're feeling that entrepreneurial itch, don't be afraid to, dive in, do your research, and see if dropshipping aligns with your aspirations. You never know where that journey might lead. This has been really insightful. Thank you so much for diving into this with me today.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me.